Welcome to the Kindness Project, the podcast designed to share stories of kindness and share how kindness can make positive change in our world, one small act at a time.
This week on the Kindness Project, we talk about his coming home, silly jokes, and we have part one of our interview with Sue Fishpool from Accuro.
Good afternoon, evening, morning. Welcome to the Kindness Project. I am joined by a girl who is excited it's coming home.
It's coming home.
That's Sophie Dames, and a girl who is a bit ambivalent about it coming home or not.
Is it coming home? Is it really coming home though?
Cynical. How can you be cynical about it possibly potentially coming home?
I'm
It's
already
coming home
home.
somewhere.
I don't need anything else to come home.
Yeah, don't come home because you'll crowd my house and I want my space. But it is, we are recording this on the 11th of July. You'll, dear listener, know whether it's come home or not and where it's come home to. We are, of course, talking about the European final where England is playing
No, really,
Italy.
I thought we were talking women's tennis.
Oh, it might be. It might be. Is Wimbledon on?
Women's tennis is done, men's tennis is still going.
Yeah, see. So we're in a position where either England will bring it home, much to the annoyance of Charlotte, because she'll not appreciate it crowding the space in her house. They're not going to bring it home to your bedroom, are they?
No, but they might bring it over to my living room, won't they?
Just imagine you turn up from college and suddenly the European
I'm done
Cups.
with college now for the year until September.
Just imagine you turning up from being out and suddenly the European Cup sitting in your front room. That would be strange, wouldn't it?
And then,
What would
the
you do with
whole
it? Melt it down
football
to
team.
scraps?
The
No, you
whole
keep it.
football team
All the football team would come round for a cup of tea.
No.
to your college specifically.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't be there, would I?
No, they wouldn't go to their college, would they? Anyway, it may be coming home, it may not. But we will see how we get on. And do you want to do my intro?
Oh yeah, and I'm talking to a man who seems to have a drink every time he even remotely thinks it's coming home. It's Chris Day.
I have. I mean, I must admit, it has been a weird few weeks, and I do need a bit of a detox once tonight's done, because I have been celebrating the potential that it might be coming home quite a lot. Weirdly, with Peroni, which is an Italian lager, so I don't know what I'm going to be doing after that. Peroni, if there's anybody from Peroni listening, we're not embarrassed, Peroni. We'd like you to potentially sponsor the Kindness Project by just sending us beer. Would that be?
I don't drink.
All right. Okay. What would you like? Iron Brew.
Yeah.
Okay,
nice
if
one.
you-
That's from Scotland though.
If you send me Peroni and Charlotte Iron Brew, then we're job done. What would
And
you like?
then
What would you like, Sophie?
2 tons of iron brew.
Oh, you want more Iron Brew?
And 3 tons of
Okay,
apples.
if we keep this going, we will have enough iron brew to create the sun, and when we have enough iron brew to create the sun, we will have enough iron brew to actually create iron.
What's the likelihood of that happening?
Very unlikely.
Okay, fair enough. I
Charlotte, the sun wouldn't even fit in our back garden.
I don't know whether you should stop drinking Iron Brew, you two, because clearly the sugar is going to your head.
No, this is actually a thing. I got bored and Wikipedia'd it. How much iron is in iron
No
brew?
sugar iron brew.
No sugar Iron Brew, fair enough. Okay, so let's move on to today's question of the podcast. And today's question of the podcast is, what's your favourite silly joke?
Oh. Was that
Now,
a question?
I know, Sophie, you've got an amazing joke you told me the other day. Can you remember what it is?
What day?
Thursday. I can't remember.
Those are good.
What was it? This one?
I can't remember what it is.
Was it? Why
I do know.
Was it
Yeah.
the Alexa talking list?
Shh. No. Do you remember that joke?
Wait, what was it?
Oh, right, I'm going to Yeah, right, I'm going to tell the joke.
There was a robber robbing the streets, and he used to put bricks in people's washing machines. Then the police are searching for him. They found him in an alleyway. They found out his name was Cal. The people in my street were singing, "Washing machines live longer with Cal gone."
I really thought you were talking about the wider graveyards need fences because people are dying to get in.
Okay, that's not bad. That's not a bad joke. I mean, my favourite silly joke is so simple. What do you call a three-legged donkey?
A wonky.
You know,
I thought it was
the
gonna be-
classics are the best, aren't they?
I thought it was going to be that little poem about the sardine, but okay.
What, a baby sardine?
Saw his first submarine and he took a look through the peephole. Come, 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 said the sardines, Mum, it's only a tin full of people.
Amazing. Spike Milligan at his best. Apart from the one where there's a woman drowned in the lake. That is absolute genius, but I can't remember all the words for that.
The man who was drowning...
The man who's drowning and the man who's sick.
But yeah, that
Apart
is...
from that, the fire in my flat has been a pretty good day.
Yeah, that is... Spike Milligan was a genius when it comes to
His last
nonsensical
words were
poems.
just...
Yeah, I told you I was ill. Anyway, Spike Milligan, R.I.P. We miss you. Anyway,
We believed in you.
tell our audience where they can get in touch with their favourite silly joke of choice.
So we have Twitter, it's @AllOfKindness. We have Facebook. Just put the Kindness Project into the search bar. We should come up, and if we don't, why not? We will. I don't know.
We will rock you.
I was going to say take legal action, but okay.
We will sue you.
Take legal action.
We will get extremely litigious because we like that.
We will get really mad. Maybe.
We will turn into the Hulk. Sorry.
We will get stopped for copyright infringement.
I think you're allowed to sing.
We might murder.
No, we won't. We're not going to murder anybody. We
Not when we want to accomplish our goals.
get sued for copyright infringement. Sorry, Queen. Anyway, tell everybody where they can get in touch.
So we have a website which is www.kindnessproject.co.uk, but if you just type it into the Google bar, Google, what a revolutionary thing, and it should come up as the top thing, and if it doesn't, someone's getting sued. Anyway, it's not the point.
We will.
So yo.
And we also have an email, oliver@thekindnessproject.co.uk, but all of that information should be on our website anyway, as well as a lot of our episodes and more information.
Not only a lot, nearly 200 episodes are on now, so we are doing amazingly well. Loads of high five and then a clap. Loads and loads of hours and hours of great interviews.
And my voice.
A little bit of banter every now and again.
Fun.
But yeah.
It's just bants, isn't it, mate?
It's just bants, yeah. It's just all bants. So feel free to take a look at the website, take a look at the interviews. Loads of people talking about the amazing stuff they do in the world. All at www.thekindnessproject. We will be at .co.uk. No,
You're just confusing people now.
Yeah, exactly.
Just confusing people now.
Just people put in the search term. Right, find us on the web. You can do that. And on that note, should we get on with the show?
Let's do it.
So this week we have an amazing interview with Sue Fishpool, who is the fundraising manager over at Accuro. They support people with disabilities in West Essex. They do amazing work over at Accuro, and Sue tells us all about it in this first part of the interview. Would you like to listen?
Let's do it.
Hi Sue, thanks for joining us on the Kindness Project.
Oh, hello, and thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
You're more than welcome. How's your day going so far?
Not too bad. It's not a lovely day, is it? It's a rainy, grey. If you were a Martian, you'd probably think it was October, but hey ho. But yeah, no, going well, thank you.
Good. And we had a conversation offline about technology.
We did.
And help me understand, what was your first technological bit of kit? What was the first bit that you thought, wow, this is like...
Oh, a Walkman, Chris. I had a Walkman and I absolutely loved it. And I mean, it was the fact that I could get this little thing in my pocket and I could, walk about with, Duran Duran it was in those days. And
Duran?
I just thought it was fantastic. And the fact that you could then make your own mixtape. I mean, hours spent in a bedroom doing that.
The problem with that, Sue, is my one always had the DJ at the end of the radio on every song that I put on there. Do you remember that? Because you had to stop it at the right time.
You did, and you were trying to record it on the charts, and you never know which song they're going to cut short because they've got a time frame, haven't they? And you know when you're having to do the record and play buttons at the same time, and if that went a bit wrong, but it was a lot of fun, and it kept you busy as well.
Yeah,
it was something to do, wasn't it?
I love my Walkman. You know what? I love my Walkman, and I mean, I'm a Spotify man now. I really like the fact that I can just sort of, but I still go back to the music of my youth.
Oh,
do you know what I mean? I'm still in that sort of. I tell you what I was listening to this morning before I went to the gym. Billy Ocean. I haven't listened to him for years. And
he's in the Stone,
I know. He's got some really good tracks, Billy Ocean.
I think the thing with the Spotify playlists is that if you just pull up one of theirs that are pre-mixed, and because it's like a vibe that you're going for, every now and then there'll be a real blast from the past.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant. And I often listen to music if I'm cooking or working out or doing whatever. And I sometimes have to stop and just go, oh, look, and it brings back memories of where you were. It is lovely. Music is very emotional.
I mean, we'll talk about the charity in a minute, but let me share a Spotify tip with you, okay? And again, we were talking before the podcast about how we learned about technology from our kids.
Yeah.
So Charlotte said to me, Dad, this was a couple of months ago now, Dad, what's on your Discovery playlist? And I was like, what's the Discovery playlist? She went, well, what Spotify do is every time you play a song, they're thinking about what song you're playing. And every week they provide you with songs that they think you might like.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, I'll give that a go. And it's amazing because it's modern and sort of retro. I don't know if that's the right word, but retro.
It is in my brain. I get what you mean.
Modern and retro songs that you go, yes, that's going on one of my permanent playlists. I really like that. What are you listening to most at the minute?
Well, my son constantly plays the Foo Fighters' new album. When I like the Foos, I must admit, I'm a big fan. So that's just kind of our background white noise, really, that's going on permanently. But it's usually not so much an artist, but more of a vibe that I would like to listen to. There are a lot of sort of, they're like lazy Sunday morning type playlists on Spotify. I like those because it's not like really hard stuff, but it's really, it's mellow and I enjoy that, I must admit.
Well, I get in trouble in my house because I've got a Sunday jazz playlist that I like to play on Sunday mornings, and nobody else in my house likes it. So I'm
like that actually with Classic FM. I'll stick that on, or one of those stations.
That's like a sort of as you're reading or doing something else, you want a bit of background noise.
Cooking, that kind of thing.
And we've confirmed as well that you cannot listen officially to the Kindness Project and do something else productive. It just doesn't happen.
You have to listen. Just listen. You could probably go for a walk or go for a run. And pop it on, but no, certainly not do anything like write an email, because then you start writing what the person on the podcast is saying. And
you definitely don't want to do that, because Duran Duran or the Foo Fighters will end up in there, won't it? That's the challenge you've got. So, tell us a little bit about you before we start talking about Accuro.
So I'm Sue Fishpool, and I am a fundraising manager at Accuro. But my background comes from hospitality, to be honest. For 22 years, my husband and I run a restaurant in Bishop Stortford, and that is really where the majority of my working life has been, which was great, and obviously had a lot of experience on things like events and working with customers, with clients, and trying to make sure that their experience was the best that you could deliver. And always having that attitude of, if you've got a challenge, then you've got to work towards a customer leaving your establishment in a better place than they came in. We did a lot of outside catering as well, and I really enjoyed that because I like events. And I just like meeting people. And when you go into someone's home, there's kind of a different type of relationship, because actually they're hosting you as a supplier. And it's some people that we've we've been working with on Outside Catering, so you could call friends now. So it's a really nice way of working with the public. But I actually got breast cancer about 7 years ago, and I was really helped with charities at the time to be able to manage, your emotions and where you are, and to be able to give more to your family to help them to cope with what you're going through. And I just thought, you know what? This is what I want to do. I want to be able to work with a charity. And I thought, what is it that I can do? And I'm an eventer, really. I do events, and I eventually found a place in a charity working as a community fundraiser, and I've gone from there. So that's how I've progressed my career. I really like working in a smaller community, so more of a local or small regional operation rather than national. I've worked for all sorts. I have worked for national charity, I've worked for regional and very small local charities. But I think because of the network that I developed when I was working with my husband at the restaurant, that's actually given me a really good base to be able to connect and communicate with people. So that's really why I am in the role that I'm in. I've got 3 children. They're different age ranges. 2 are in their 20s, one's 13. So busy being a mum as well, as we all are. But I like being busy. That thing of, busy people get things done. I do think that is true. So, I really enjoy it. I really enjoy the challenges, the difference every day. You never know who you're going to be talking to from one day to the next. But I'm not going to lie, it's been really tough the last year because of furlough and not being able to do the work that you really are passionate about. But also just everything's cancelled, so your normal fundraising streams are non-existent. So there are real challenges for all charities, but it's been an interesting year for everyone.
I think it's been. I mean, certainly the charities we've spoke to on the Kindness Project more recently have found the last year a struggle, and we've done what we can because over lockdown 1, we did all the Kindness Projects live. We did it live on Facebook throughout, just supporting those charities. But as you say, if events are the main driver of the revenue from those charities and events just can't happen, how do you make up that shortfall? So we'll certainly talk a little bit about that. So before we talk about Accuro, tell me about the kids.
So I've got a soon-to-be 27-year-old, my son. I have a daughter who is going to be 24 very soon. Their birthdays are very close. She's getting married in a couple of weeks. So there's a little bit of work done. You like to be busy, but that's quite a busy time. And then
you say daughter, you like to be busy, Sue, but there is a thing called over busy, isn't there?
It is. I mean, it's lovely. It's wonderful, isn't it, when your children want to get married and there's a celebration, but obviously it's a different kind of celebration from the one that we anticipated having because there are COVID restrictions, but it will still be wonderful. But there is a lot to do. I can't deny it. And then my youngest is 13, so we have got a gap of 10 years in between the older 2 and the youngest one, which is our little gift from God. So
well, I mean, we're similar with Sophie actually. So we didn't think we could have any more kids when Charlotte was born. And I've told this story in the podcast before, but he's one of my favourites, so I won't apologise for telling it again. Apologies, listeners. But when the year before Sophie was born, we said to Charlotte, "What do you want for Christmas?" Right? And she said, "I want a little sister." And we said, never going to happen. Don't. That's you set the expectations. It's not going to happen. That's it. Really sorry. It's just not.
And how old was Charlotte?
Charlotte was 8.
Okay. Yeah.
Only child. We thought that was our family at the point. Then the next year, well, within like a couple of months, we find out that Sophie's coming along. And Sophie was born, part of the family, stuff like that. So next Christmas comes along and Charlotte says, Dad, you know what I really want for Christmas this year? I want a dog. And I said, never going to happen. Never in a million years. We're not going to do it. We're not getting a dog. I know, Dad, but you said that about the sister.
and now we've got a dog.
Well
So-
done.
So I'm really not good at this sort of setting boundaries stuff. Clearly,
Oh, but how lovely though! How lovely for her to have her sister. It's they've got a really good relationship.
yeah. I mean, I think the cat. I mean, I don't know about your three, but I think the cat as you know, there's a bit of a maternal thing between them because Charlotte really, you know, is big sister and thankfully we've never. Charlotte's not the typical teenager, but we've never had that, you know, Charlotte feeling that Sophie's encroaching on her space or anything like that. They have got a really, really good relationship. And what they've done is, because they're both quite geeky, they just share all their interests, and that's where the connection lies. How about with yours?
Oh, they are close. They are very close. I mean, our middle daughter, who's getting married, she actually lives in Brighton, so she's not local now. But you know, they're in touch often. We do see her. It is a lovely thing. They do have a lovely relationship, both all of them in their own little, you know, they sort of intermingle in different ways. They're unique relationships within that. You know, it's the same with my parents and my sister. You have a different bond, don't you, slightly? But no, it is lovely. And I think the 10-year gap that we have with our youngest and our oldest has actually allowed her to go to different people for advice when she thinks, oh, it's not something I want to talk to mum about, but I'll speak to Ellie about it. Or, you know, so it's great for her. The only thing that it has meant is that as she has gone through primary and now into secondary school, there are times when she's a bit like an only child in that peer group, but you just make sure she's got friends. But that's been hard for that, I think, that age group lockdown, because they've not been able to do the social things that they would normally do. So it's tough.
I mean, Sophie, I think, has, you know, certainly since going back to school, she's really enjoyed just engaging with other kids again and just getting involved. When it comes to homeschooling, Sue, I'm definitely best off leaving it to the professionals. I mean, Cassie, bless her, she did her best, and I tried to help as well. But homeschooling was not a roaring success, if I'm being perfectly frank.
I think if you've got two people that are professionals and you've got 2 or 3 children that are at primary age, it must have been so difficult. Difficult.
You know what's interesting? So we during lockdown we did a bunch of interviews for my business, my financial planning business, Velo, and I was deciding who to interview for the business for these videos, and I know the lady who got nominated as the Financial Education Teacher of the Year last year.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And so I sort of said, look, come on, we'll have a chat about financial education in schools, because we do some work supporting classroom of kids every year through a financial education program. So it'd be an interesting conversation about how financial education might work in action and what we can do to help kids learn more about money and stuff like that. So I've got to be perfectly frank about it. My secret motivation was to have a conversation about homeschooling and how to do it right. And she came on, and we had the sort of the financial education conversation. And I said, right, we've got 10 minutes left. Let's just talk about what I need to do for homeschooling. I'm sitting there with my notebook, ready to make sure that and she went, one tip, don't be too hard on yourself. Because everybody is trying to struggle through this thing, and she was at home with her kids, and I think we've just all tried our best, haven't we?
Yeah, well, absolutely. But that fits in lovely with the kindness project, isn't it? Be kind to yourself about these things. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
You do have to do that.
You need to. Yeah.
Step back and go, you know what? I am doing my best, and it is good enough. It has to be, because what else can you do? So,
100%. So tell me a little bit about Accuro and the work they do.
So Accuro is the full name is Accuro Care Services, and our offices are actually just off Junction 8 on the M11, so very near to Bishop Stortford, in between Stortford and Takeley. But our services are for people with a disability in West Essex. So we are in Uttlesford, Harlow, and in Epping Forest. So if you were looking on a map, you'd be looking at sort of Saffron Walden, up
I
the
know where you are.
M11,
Yeah.
and then going down towards Loughton. And we also go out towards Dunmow. So it's very much an M11 corridor. And what Accuro's aim is to do is to eliminate social isolation for people with a disability. But what that really translates into is to empower people with a disability and to give them the tools to be able to feel that they are okay and that they are confident in themselves and who they are, and to give them the ability to be who they are, to be able to then go out and into the wider world really, and to be able to thrive. So our clubs that we run, and there's all sorts of different clubs, different age groups, and all sorts of different things that we do, are very much based on sort of a social thing where you're having fun and you're giving everybody that comes, so every member, the space and the time to be able to be who they really are. So, for example, I mean, I've got a quote here from one of our parents, and she has a son who's called Liam, and he's 15. And she says, before Liam joined Accuro, he wouldn't associate with other children and failed to fit in. At his Accuro club, Liam has understood it's okay to be different, and he really fits in and is no longer so isolated. He's gone from being such a sad boy to a happy child asking to go to club each week. So he was a child who was in school, understood that he was different from other people, didn't understand why he was different. He has autism, amongst other things. But he was in a mainstream school, so there wasn't really any, or there was enough really support for him within that environment for him to be able to be who he really was. But at Accuro, he's been able to understand this is okay, I'm me and I'm good and this is fine. So that's really what we're looking at in terms of success stories, but also we are trying to give our members the opportunity to have this support through life. So when they join, we also have our adult schemes as well, and it's about friendship. You know how we all need to have friendships, we all need to not feel lonely, we all need to be part. We are social animals by default, aren't we?
It's about community as well, isn't it? And having friends around you who can support you, who are like you, and
that you relate to, isn't it? It's about who you can relate to and how you feel comfortable in that. I mean, did you know that people with a learning disability are 7 times more likely to feel lonely than the general population? That MENCAP have pulled those stats in. So, and that's just a fact, and that was before COVID. So it's got worse now. So as you say, it's important to give people the place where they feel they can be themselves.
And give me an idea of some of the activities you run. What have?
So we have youth clubs, and we also have what I could call is called our Saturday Play Scheme, which it's a bit like a youth club for a slightly younger group. And we also have our Adult Friendship Scheme, and they really are activity driven, but the activities are very democratic. So you would be giving the people that join those groups the opportunity to choose the kinds of activities that they'd like to do. So you're always trying to keep it led by your members, really, and you'll be doing activities that mean that there is team working that you're building on, but you're able to do that within the environment that is safe, so that if you do have a member that is like, no, I can't engage with that today is not a good day, that's fine, because they're able to go and do another activity that's going to suit them better. So everything you do is going to be focused on that moment that you're in. So you could be doing something crafting, you might be going out for a nature walk, you might be with some of our older teenagers, taking them out for a coffee or a meal, to introduce things like paying for your goods. None of this has obviously been able to happen recently, but you're also trying to teach life skills that are going to equip them with the confidence to be outside in a wider environment as well.
And do you is it both physical and mental disabilities you work with, or is it?
It is, yes. We do have some wheelchair users, and the majority, I have to say, of our members have a learning disability, and that can be amongst a lot of other diagnoses as well. So some complicated diagnoses that we have,
Yeah.
but the majority would be a form of a learning disability. But we do have other people that come and use us that are they're in a wheelchair. So it's also things like respite for parents that is part of what we do. So you may have a family that, for example, have got siblings, they've got 2 or 3 children, and they need to take one of the children on a Saturday to a football game, and it's never accessible for a child in a wheelchair. It's just so hard. So actually they come to us for 4 hours, have a great time at club and making all their friends. The other part of the family is able to do that activity, and then they come together, and it helps everybody.
Talk about those experiences.
And it helps everybody. So when you think about who do we help, there is a much wider community that we help as well. So
it's like what you said before when you were talking about the testimonial from the was it a mum, wasn't it? And you know, happier kids, we know from our families, happier kids mean you're happier, aren't they? You know, like
Usha, actually, when I was listening to a couple of podcasts, Usha the other week said, we want the world to be right for your babies. And that is really what this is all about. You've got a child who has got a disability of some sort, but that doesn't matter. That child has got every right to be able to make their own decisions, to fit it, you know. So it's about giving that family and that child the confidence to become who they should be. And they have superpowers as well. And it's being able to, it's amazing. We do need to think about it in the right way.
So it is 2 questions then. So I agree. I agree with you, not at the same time, because we've already had a conversation about multitasking soon. We don't want to confuse it too much, do we? Let's be honest. But that's. I mean, I'm not good at it either. So we'll do one at a time. I've thought about 2 questions, but we do one at a time. Number 1, okay, is how do we change our society so we're better at understanding that a learning disability isn't always a disability. A learning disability might just be an opportunity for somebody to thrive in a particular environment. Let's take autism as an example. And there are some autistic people who are amazingly mathematical, aren't there, and analytical. Yeah. So how do we get better at learning those skills?
I think we have to understand at the beginning of a relationship with somebody who has a learning disability, say has autism, you have to listen. You've got to slow down what you are trying to do, and you have to listen to the other person, and you have to have the patience to take on and understand. I mean, it's like anybody who goes into a role. So you're going into an office role, and you're going into an environment that's new and different. As you embed in that role and you start to understand the relationships within the office, you know, we can change who we are. We become more comfortable and we are who we really are. If we don't give somebody who has autism the opportunity to be who they are and to be able to do their own learning and the way that they are going to their outputs in terms of their work, how they actually do that, until we learn what they're best at. It's like anyone, what is your best skill set? So, okay, you're really good. You are really good at talking to customers. That means you're going to be on the phone and talking, and you're going to be a front-facing person. I think so many people that I've met that have autism, because they are incredibly analytical and incredibly organised, and in terms of being something like a virtual assistant or a PA or something of that nature, just completely brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But you need to understand that and take time to actually find out what those skills are and where
get over the stigma and just have a really open.
Just be patient. Just listen.
I mean, that's why Russell runs his podcast too, because frankly, the only thing I'm good at is thinking and talking. Russ is infinitely better organised than me.
So that was the first part of the interview with Sue. Amazing insight in terms of her and the work she does. Shall we crack on with the show?
Let's do it. Tis the end!
Tis the end!
What did I just say about it being my time to shine?
Sorry.
Okay, so last week's question of the day was question of the podcast for today. And as we're on a momentous Sunday today, it's a great question to answer. What does your ideal Sunday look like? Sophie, you weren't on last week's question of the podcast, so what does your Sunday look like, apart from playing with a fish tank that looks more like a moss tank?
Algae.
Algae tank. So what's your ideal Sunday look like?
It's got LED lights. Lego.
Well, I thought in
I like playing with Lego and reading books about politics.
You are reading. Tell everybody about your
It's a
book.
very political book, and I don't know why I chose it. I didn't read the thing at the back. I thought,
Blurb.
Are you enjoying it though?
I didn't read the blurb at the back. Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
You're enjoying it. So you've got a weird combination of, for a 9-year-old, reading books about Syria and trampolining in the back garden in your knickers. So quite a
Carefree life.
Quite a carefree life. I'll read this book on really intense politics and just go for a trampoline with my pants
Go
on.
for a bounce.
Go for a
Trying to
bounce with my pants
sprinkle
on.
air through the sprinkler.
Yeah, all good. Is that what that does at the top there? Is that a sprinkler you've attached to the
Yeah.
trampoline? You're choking. Has it worked?
I think so. No.
Oh, right, okay.
Not yet.
Not yet. It'll get there. So let's hear
I can't
about.
quite attach it to the hose.
Let's hear about what our connections and contacts and listeners all like to do on a Sunday. Mike Christie likes a swim and a little bit of the Euros. So today should be a good day for Mike. Gloria Mollin said, healthy breakfast, working out and chilling in the garden. Sean Acton said, I love a bike ride out into Essex. Sam Chilton said, when she commented, she'd just done her first ever mud race, and then she's checking for bruises because a mud
Nice.
race apparently is
Hardcore.
Is quite hardcore. Joshua said church and bringing anyone who is willing to come to church along, socialising, and a good movie date with my wife. Al McCann just sent us a picture of his cat.
Oh,
So
what
I
a
think-
sweetheart.
I think cuddling with his cat is
Tired.
the way to go. Desmond Barker said church and a day of rest. And David Falsdyke said lie in, church service, coffee, roast dinner, a round of golf, cheeky pint, F1 highlights, movie bed. Pretty busy day. And then in the afternoon, Sarah Robinson said family nature, a roast, a glass of red wine, finish off with a family movie.
Oh, that's
So they all sound like, if that floats your boat, pretty amazing days out. So that's it for another episode of the podcast. We will see you next week.
Here.
Bye.